Hi, good morning. I'm Subbu Subramaniam, head of product at Plathi, and we have built a solution that enables musculoskeletal patients to recover quicker from their injuries. We not only help the patients, but we also help insurance companies close claims faster, which helps them to save money. About 1 in 3 Americans suffer from musculoskeletal conditions every year. That's a huge number. Massive market opportunity and growing quite rapidly, partly due to demographics. However, most of the recovery happens at home, and only a third of the patients follow their recovery program. That results in a suboptimal recovery, repeat surgeries, and added cost. We help these patients easily manage their care program, and we provide the data to doctors, care providers, and the patients to track their progress. We sell in 2 markets. The first is workers' compensation, where we sell to Fortune 100, state funds, and insurance carriers. The focus here is on getting employees back to work quickly. And we have proven this through clinical studies and through research. This helps these companies save money in medical costs as well as indemnity costs. And they also reduce the reserves they have to set aside to pay these claims. The second market that we serve is the healthcare market. Here we sell to hospital systems and to orthopedic clinics. Here the focus is on patient engagement, because engaged patients create quality outcomes. Here too, we have proven our efficacy through clinical studies. We're not a cost to these customers, we're actually a revenue generator because they are reimbursed through Medicare and other commercial payers. Our solution has an app, iPhone and Android, English and Spanish, which can be tailored for each patient to personalize their recovery. We have a sensor which is clinical grade and measures range of motion. And this is complemented with personalized coaching and predictive analytics. We're an FDA Class II registered device with several industry accreditations. There are many systemic issues in the healthcare industry today. Access to care, rising costs, fragmented recovery, inconsistent recovery, etc. We help manage many of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you have hardware, the sensor. What ranges of motion, what joints, types of injuries are you able to track? Are you also using the camera on the phone or just the sensor?
Right now, we are only using the sensor. We're in the process of augmenting it with cameras. The reason we have stuck to sensors is because of ease of use. Ease of use promotes engagement. Engagement gives us more data, which enables our entire model. But we are in the midst of building camera. This is the sensor. Mm-hmm. And it tracks all the common motions. It has an accelerometer, gyroscope, all the usual stuff. So yeah, flexion, extension, etc. It is movable, and so it can be applied to any body part.
Excellent. Any patients using it right now?
Thousands.
Okay. Through employers, or what's the channel that they're using it through right now?
We sell directly to the workers' compensation, in the workers' compensation segment to those companies. We sell through distributors to the healthcare companies. And we have a significant advantage because most of the products that distributors sell today are cost items. We are actually a revenue item. So we sell it to orthopedic clinics through distributors.
So how do you measure success from your product?
If I take workers' compensation, there's a company called ODG that measures recovery time based on joints for various injuries. we beat those metrics in workers' comp. If you look at healthcare, it's again the time to recovery. How long does it take to regain full motion? And we beat those metrics.
What are some quantitative numbers for time to recovery and back to work for workers' compensation?
For certain types of, for example, sprains and strains, it's 22 days. They give you a range, best in class, worst case, and we are close to or better than best in class in many of these. It's 22 days, for example, for some of these.
Good presentation, Subbu. I have a couple of questions. One is, what is the learning involved as far as your product goes? What about false positives and stuff? How do you take care of that?
Since it's a recovery process, the main thing we have to be sure is that patients are using the product the way it is supposed to. Are they doing their exercises properly? Are they in the right posture? So that's what it detects, but it's complemented by coaching. Our coaches work with the patients day in and day out to make sure that they are doing it right, that they are recovering. And that's why our engagement is far higher than what you'll find in the industry. For example, typical patient engagement in enterprise-like models is in the low single digits or in the teens. Our engagement rates are between 60 and 80%.
So now you talked about a human factor there, there's the coaching. How do your overheads add up? What's your business model?
Our business model today, if I look at healthcare, the cost of the services we provide, we offer it as a subscription to the orthopedic clinics and the hospitals. They get reimbursements for these services that far exceed what we charge them. So it's a revenue and a margin item for them, and it's margin for us. In workers' comp, the indemnity costs and the other lost wages and such are such that the return on investment to these customers is actually far higher.
Okay. The last question, I mean, you've got customers, you made it into sort of a successful venture right now, and we know about Prati for a while. To all the other startups and entrepreneurs, tell us how your sales cycle is. What do you do to land new contracts and stuff like that? How's that process been?
Sales cycle can take several months, depending upon the size of the customer, the number of employees, the types of injuries they go through, and so forth. Many of them are actually coming to us right now and asking about our product. But we have reached out to them mainly through industry contacts. There are many workers' compensation groups that we are part of. They hear about us, and many of the executives at these companies have recovered on our platform, which provides a tremendous testimonial for us. So there are many large companies. We have reached them through community forums and through working groups where we see them, and that's what has given us the traction and success that we have right now.
Thanks, Subbu. That's end of 5 minutes of Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next company, please.
Hello, everyone. By the time they pull up the slide, quick hands up for people who want to eat healthy. So we have very interesting solution for you. Eating healthy is surprisingly hard because takeaways are easy, but they are loaded with salt, sugar, and oil. Packaged food, on the other hand, you have empty calories, you have preservatives and stuff you can't even pronounce, right? While cooking by self is messy, time-consuming, and most of us can't manage every day. And that's why we built NOS. So NOS is a robo-chef for home where you load the ingredient, command it to cook. It cooks completely automatically a delicious meal for you. So here is a quick video, if he can pull out.
The world's first intelligent robo-chef for homes. Nosh lives in your kitchen and cooks delicious food for you, just the way you like it. Here's how it works. Select your favorite dish and load the ingredients. Spices are pre-filled and so are oil and water. Just command it to cook and Nosh takes care of complete cooking. Nosh precisely measures and adds oil, water and spices. Step by step, each ingredient is poured into the pan at the right time and temperature. But that's not all. Built-in camera is the eye for RoboChef Nosh, and it heats, sautés and stirs until ingredients are perfectly cooked. For example, onions are cooked until they turn golden brown. Tomatoes are cooked until caramelization, while rice is cooked to right consistency. Tell your Nosh to cook just the way you love it, whether it's spicy, salty or creamy. Command it from anywhere, be it from the gym or from your kids' school. With Nosh, eat your favorite food anytime, anywhere, always.
So, coming back, so it also have a physical AI where there's a camera and thermal array which looks at the pan. It also processes what is happening in a pan, and it make a decision like when we do cooking, we make a decision. So it's a physical AI on the product, and we have filed 3 patents on the product already for the core mechanism. It can do bunch of dishes, Indian, Asian, Italian, pot meals, your mac and cheese, your desserts, cow soy, and a lot of superfoods. So, and as I mentioned, you can command it from anywhere and you can adjust your preferences. So far, we have 1,100 plus orders. We have put 150 unit in India. On an average, the dual working household are using on an average 4.3 times per week. And we are actually gathering a new orders as well, and we are getting almost 50K worth of order every month right now. So our ARR is 600K right now. This is the founding team. I handle the product. My Sudeep handled the computer vision and AI, and Amit handled the business development. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm hungry, so this is great timing. I'm sure a lot of people are after that. Fantastic. So the business model is what I was going to ask, and I know there's a slide on it. So are you doing razor and razor blades approach, where you sell the model to someone and then you're able to sell them spices after the fact, or how do you continue gaining, or is it a subscription? How does it work?
So right now we are selling the hardware, and we are making a subscription where people can get exotic recipe from popular chefs, and also a couple of features like create your own recipe, edit the existing recipe will come under a paid model, a subscription. Also, we are looking for affiliates on the grocery front, because if you saw, there's an ingredient tray. Right, and it is the one tray that goes in where all the fresh ingredient go. So we are looking for a partner who can do the chop ingredient supply, and that become our another business model. So these are the 2 recurring revenue stream we are looking at.
Excellent. And then we actually we have an investment in a similar company called React Labs.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Is there enough room in the market? How do you set yourself apart from other, automated home cooking hardware?
So React Labs are a food assistant where there's a unit which tell you what to do next, right? It's not fully automatic, but it is a guided cooking. And so if you don't know how to cook, you can cook with it. While this is completely automated, once you command, you can go anywhere. You don't have to come back to the product again and again. And so idea is that cooking appliances have not evolved over years, right? And I see a lot of new companies and products that can come in and solve our problem that exists in every household.
So James had asked the question about the razor blade model.
Yeah.
You had talked about the concept of meal kits, selling that. Why wouldn't you do that business? Don't wait for affiliates. Why aren't you taking over that business where you sell your basic hardware and then have a subscription service selling the meal kits?
So groceries, like for groceries, you need enough density of people so they can take it. So existing meal kit actually are some amount of processing that happens. They make sauces, etc. And most of ingredients are delivered unchopped, right? So a chopped grocery in this form is not existing very well right now as a meal kit. So we have to build it from scratch, and to do that, we need enough density of the product so that the grocery model can survive, right? So that's why we are doing after some time and not right away.
And do you see an opportunity to sell a subscription service for celebrity recipes?
Yeah. That's what the other model is. So the celebrity chef recipe and couple of features we want to paid under paid umbrella, like.
Good start. That Matar Paneer looks really yummy. But your focus has been, I guess, you've started in India.
Yeah.
And mostly you've been sort of Indian and some other cuisines related to. But what are your plans to expand globally? And how are you going to get in continental cuisine? People will love pizzas and pastas at their home.
Yeah, so Indian cuisine or Indian demographic now has a lot of non-Indian food consumption as well. So we have pastas, we have, actually Asian food is very popular in India. So we have pho, we have ramen. So we have all kind of cuisine right now. And what we are doing is to align to the local US ingredients and the taste preferences. We are hiring a lot of chefs here and building up the recipe base which is developed here. So it already has 300 recipes, and we are planning to develop more 300 to cater to the US market.
Talk about the unit economics. What is the cost of one unit? What are you selling it for?
Yeah, I'll just go back. So once we reach 5,000 unit part, we are like, MSRP is going to be around $1,000, and we are planning to target 35% margin on that. Right now, we feel that we can stretch the price from the response so far we have gotten. We feel that we can go up to 1,500, and our cost is going to come down from $650 to somewhere around $300. So we'll able to command good gross profit on the product itself.
So I have just, going after Indian market, Indian food, roti is, very popular ingredient, and there's a company called Roti Matic, okay, very popular, okay.
Yeah.
So would you partner with that? Because I think that would be a better attraction to if you can partner. Have you thought of that?
So Pranoti and Rishi are my friend. We meet them. They also moved to Bangalore, so we meet them a couple of times. And the thing is, they are already existing, and like for us, we have to tell that this is the thing you have to buy with your Rotimatic, right? So we are working on it. We are early to this market. We are figuring out who are the right partner, whom we can work with, what should be our messaging be. So we are figuring those things out, but they are our great friends and supporters.
Good.
Excellent.
Thank you
That's
very
all
much.
time we have.
thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And Nosh Robotics does have a booth, so you can see their demo and taste the food in the expo.
Yeah, please come over for our booth, and we cook live, so you can taste out the food and give us the feedback.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Crafton, and I am the CEO of Galena Innovations. We are developing the Hannah Cervical Cup, the solution to preterm birth. This is different from other startups. We face obstacles others don't. But in a field of billion-dollar exits, the risk has its reward. But the Hannah is worth more. It will save babies, and babies are worth everything we have to go through to get them here. I'm a labor nurse focused in perinatal bereavement and refugee help. Women and children are my life's work. After witnessing preterm birth for years, my patient began to show signs of birth. We sewed her cervix closed earlier, but this tore through, and she delivered a baby that was too young to survive. And I had to solve this. 13 million women are born preterm yearly, and it's the leading cause of death for young children. Survivors face complications and hospital stays, costing the US alone $25 billion yearly, with racial inequities and a 60-year tech gap. Causes are varied, but have one commonality: cervical change. In pregnancy, the collagen-rich cervix keeps the fetus inside the womb. At delivery, the role reverses, and it then facilitates birth by changing. Positive pressure through pregnancy breaks down collagen, leading to cervical change and then birth. Aside from medications that don't work and cause harm, prevention tools aim to compress the cervix closed. But this weakens the cervix and can lead to birth. Our unprecedented tool works completely opposite. The patented HANA, my video's not working, so we're gonna do this, applies tension, causing collagen realignment and stiffness. Stiff cervices don't change, and babies don't deliver early. We've gained traction with our in vitro and cadaver studies and safely increased cervical stiffness by 34% in our human trial. We are now ready to perform our early feasibility study with 30 moms. Then we'll conduct a large trial, gain approval as a Class 2 medical device, and begin commercialization and our path to exit. Yearly, there are 2.3 million developed world HANA candidates. In fact, Jesse Draper had preterm deliveries. With a current market of $1.7 billion, addressing only a sliver of those candidates. We'll be to market in 3 years, selling to developed world health systems while bringing access to the developing world. We have the right team, and the Drapers could be part of that. Over my years of work, I've seen that improvements in the life of a mother and baby improve families, communities, generations, and society. Let's be that change together, and I welcome your questions.
Fantastic. A quick early question. The name, where's it come from?
So Galena is named after a mountain in Idaho, which is where I'm from. And galena is the precursor to silver. And when you have good outcomes, you get silver. The name Hannah is actually in honor of all the women that I have sat and cried with. The story that I shared earlier was really true. I had seen preterm birth a lot and kind of came to the conclusion that this is what we needed to do, and went into work that night, and the woman I was caring for delivered preterm, and I knew she was going to ask me why we can't do anything about this, and I couldn't face her unless I was willing to do something about it, and it's in her honor.
I mean, the product's fantastic, the mission's fantastic. Can you speak to the business model in terms of, from a venture standpoint, what's going to drive revenue? How do you become a billion-dollar business?
Yeah, so this definitely is a billion-dollar business. We are, as far as our business model, it's prescribed and fitted by a provider, and then the patient or the provider places it. It's used for 1 hour a day and then removed for about 28 days during early pregnancy to strengthen the cervix. We will be selling to developed world health systems, and then they get reimbursed by payers. The largest in the US is Medicaid, and we fall under mandatory covered benefits. The charge for it right now will be around $10,000, which is actually lower than the cost of the current failing treatment, which is cerclage, where we sew the cervix closed. The way that we reach customers is a couple of ways. We do that through talking with hospital CFOs and new innovation teams, appealing to physicians because they get better outcomes, and having some really good published research. But the thing that really drives change in obstetrics is mothers. What we've seen over the last 60 years is that regardless of the science, moms know how to advocate best for what's best for their children. And so our plan is to have a really big campaign for women to advocate for innovation, research, and change in obstetrics, which is exactly what we need if we're going to improve birth outcomes.
Awesome, Ashley. Something innovative for the society, and I'm sure all the moms will appreciate that.
Thank you.
What are your experiences in early trials, and what successes have you seen? What other changes do you think you'd want to make to the product, if any?
Thank you very much. So early on, we did some benchtop testing, some in vitro testing. I think there was a little clip. Oh, the movies didn't work, so you didn't get to see. But we had a little stretched device where we saw that collagen really did remodel like this. And then we did a cadaver study, and then we did a first-in-human. One of the first-in-human things that we did was to see what type of stretch works best. So static stretch, where we leave the device in place for a really long time, or if we use it for 3 days a week or 1 day a week. And so what we saw that worked best was using it 1 hour a day for about 28 days, and we have 3 minutes of stretch in between. So that is one change that we've made so far. The other thing that we are doing in our cadaver studies, we used medical devices that I built on my kitchen table with this nifty little syringe as our suction. But in our next clinical trial, we actually have an electronic pump that will be outside. As the cup goes in, it's attached with a pump. And then our final product that we will get FDA approval with is still that disposable cup, but the pump attaches to the back, and it's all inclusive. It's a little tiny thing that goes right in. So those are the things that will change in the future.
Great presentation, Ashley.
Thank you.
So when do you think you're going to be submitting this for FDA approval, and how long do you think the FDA approval will take?
So we will be submitting our final FDA approval in 3 years as a Class 2 medical device through a de novo application. However, we will need an investigational device exemption for our next trial, and we applied for a breakthrough device designation and should hear back tomorrow from the FDA on that, which will help us navigate that process. And our interactions with the FDA so far on our breakthrough device designation were very, very promising. So hopefully I'll report back tomorrow that we got that.
Great. We'll celebrate then.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Diana and I'm the CEO and the co-founder of X-Atoms. Water is a huge part of our lives. When I was 14, I went backpacking Asia with my mom, and that's when I for the first time ever saw black rivers. I decided then and there to dedicate my life to solving this problem. At 17, I used quantum chemistry to discover my very first molecule of a water cleaning material, winning the world's most prestigious water award from the Swedish royal family, which started my journey with X-Atoms. The problem is that current filtration solutions can turn dirty water into clear water. However, this clear water may still contain invisible contaminants, such as biological pathogens, chemical pollutants, still killing millions of people every single year. And thus the invisible contaminants are the deadliest killers. Problem not far away from us, just outside our door here in the US, all of us remember the Michigan lead pipe pollution crisis. At X-Atoms, we solve this problem by discovering new materials called photocatalysts. Photocatalysts are these powders which, when added to contaminated water and exposed to any visible light source, can turn this dirty water into clean and safe drinking water within under 30 minutes. With 7 years of R&D, we developed a patented process which uses a combination of AI and quantum chemistry to computationally discover new molecules of these photocatalysts. Our process has proven to be 40 times faster, and we've already discovered 8 patented photocatalysts, each of them cleaning different types of world's toughest contaminants, from chemical pollutants such as DDT to biological pathogens such as E. coli and cholera. With these 8, we can already prevent 3.5 million waterborne deaths every single year. Our materials are 4 times more effective because of the use of quantum and AI we use to discover them, as well as 2 times cheaper. This is what it looks like in the lab. We have a polluted sample. We've added our photocatalyst. We have after 10 minutes and after 30 minutes. It's a clean and safe drinking water. We are part of a huge $500 billion market. And we have over $1.5 million in sales. We've already cleaned water for over 106,000 people. And we have pilots for consumer, for community, as well as for industrial applications in water. We also recently started collaborating with Water.org, co-founded by Matt Damon, to reach even more communities. Our path to $100 million includes finalizing our current pilots, expanding to larger corporations. We have a deal with Canadian Natural for $18 million contract for next year, eventually hitting $100 million by 2030. We're a team of 3 co-founders, and we are 10 full-time employees at this moment. We're PhDs in computational chemistry. We are Forbes 30 under 30 in new materials and manufacturing for 2025. Advised by world-class scientists such as head of climate tech at AWS. We've raised over $2 million in pre-seed funding, and our first funding came from Alexis Ohanian, the founder of Reddit. And 4.4 billion people today still lack access to clean and safe drinking water. Let's make it zero with the help of X atoms. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, great presentation. So in terms of clean water, you put your molecules and then sunlight automatically change. You just let it in sunlight. You don't need any special kind of light. It sits in sunlight?
It's either sunlight or LED. So as long as it's a visible light source, it does the reaction.
And what is the competition here? The water filtration systems which don't really clean the water?
Yes, so we have these, the powder is here, and we coat actually surfaces with it. So that's what makes us so much cheaper, because we apply coating on the surface of the filters, and then once the water comes into the contact with the surface, it can clean it. And this coating lasts for an entire year. Similar technology is used in Japan for self-cleaning windows. So we are using our photocatalyst for filters.
And what's the unit cost? How much does it cost and how much do you sell it for?
Yes, so we have, just to quickly show. So, for example, we are coating these filters. So we are collaborating with a company called PureBag. This is a filter that we are coating 10 liters, and we have on every single filter we coat, we have a profit of $4.5, 70% margin, and at the same time, it only takes 15 grams of this powder to be coated, to coat the 10-liter filter and last for an entire year. So we are very competitive because this is we can use this 15 grams to actually purify 6,000 of such bottles of water, this 15 grams. However, currently PureBag is using chlorine, and this is chlorine amount needed for 10 liters of water every single use. Yeah.
Awesome. How do you know how do you know it's 100% pure? And by adding more of the product, do you get to that point, or is there a way to measure it?
Yeah, it depends on the system. So for example, with PureBag, we want as much surface to touch the water. So we determine how much powder we need for that specific volume. And at the same time, the 30 minutes is the amount we recommend. However, it usually takes around 15 minutes to fully purify. But we, just to be safe, we have 30 minutes. And also for different systems, we have this tiny solar panel, which measures the intensity of the light that's passing. And once we reach that threshold, we know that it's fully purified with the energy needed.
So based on the time and the product, it comes to 100% purified?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and is there a way to measure it?
Yeah, like with the tiny solar panel, that's measuring intensity. So the most important thing is the intensity of the light.
No, I'm talking about the purity of the water.
Yeah, so we've done, we tested. So like when we were doing our tests for the last 2 years, we're testing with different communities. So we would apply this and then test it afterwards. But now we know exactly the metrics we need. So it purifies it. Mm-hmm.
Is it mostly or entirely right now for drinking water, or would you use it for sewer treatment, things like that kind of have a lower threshold but would still benefit from something like this?
Yes, we started with drinking water, but with one of our pilots in South Africa, we actually have industrial scale application for river water. But we are moving next year with Canadian Natural for oil spills specifically, and mining as well, types of applications, so heavy metals, specific focus.
And currently the water needs to be not moving. So river made me think of it because that was the initial example, right? But it needs to kind of be sedentary at some point in order to be exposed to the sun.
Yeah, so for example, if it's touching, for example, let's say we have a piping system which has a coating of the photocatalyst. the water passes through the piping system, and we calculate how long the system has to be for the water to pass through it. And as long as it passes through enough area of the pipe, it can purify it, so the water actually can be moving.
Does it need to be in the sun after it passes through the pipe? Because I would imagine the sun is what kind of is burning off, for lack of a better word, the chemicals. So it goes through the pipe, and then if it reaches a reservoir at the end, it'll have the coating attached to it, and then it burns off. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, so the sun actually activates the photocatalysts, and photocatalysts then create these radicals that attack the bonds of the contaminants. It's sun or LED. So in areas, for example, in Canada, where there's like the indigenous communities, it needs to be LED.
Fantastic. Great. I think we're out of time, but great presentation.
Thank you.
Really like that.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aditya Murali. I'm the founder and CEO of FireEye. And the U.S. actually leads, the U.S. leads the world in many areas right now, but fintech, we're actually well behind. In fact, most businesses, after opening a bank account, they quickly abandon the bank's outdated tools just to end up piecing together multiple software from point of sale, online, and vendor payments. In B2B, it's not even digital. Manual wires and checks are pretty much 50% of all transactions. And in other markets, this was phased out by the introduction of instant payments. But this transformation in the US is not going to happen overnight, which is why FireEye has partnered with Bank of New York Mellon to provide businesses a single platform to send and receive all payments, including the new instant payments, while seamlessly integrating with their existing software and ERP to automate reconciliation. Now, how do we solve the problem is that when a business boards onto FireEye's orchestration platform, we connect them with multiple bank and payment rails. And using intelligent routing, we enable and disable access to instant payments to mitigate fraud, but also give them access to traditional rails. Instant payments are like Zelle, RTP, FedNow. These methods settle over weekends and holidays, dramatically improving liquidity for businesses, which they currently do not have. There's deep technology behind our solution, but due to time, we'll go over it in a different time. Most solutions in the US market focus on single use cases. For example, let's say Stripe for e-commerce, Square for point of sale, Brex or Ramp for expenses, Bill.com for payouts. FireEye provides all these capabilities in a single platform. We provide all these functions natively, but at the same time, we can integrate if any of these tools are used by the business to reduce the total systems they manage and simplify reconciliation. Similar to these tools, we work with banks, but we also bring banks as investors because they are then able to take FireEye solution and provide them to their business customer base. Some of the customers we're helping right now are, for example, Credit.com. They process over $500 million in e-commerce. Now they're having a high overhead in managing risk and fraud, chargebacks with approval rates around 50%. Now, what we're able to do is, with FireEye, optimize their routing, offer pay by bank, dramatically increasing their approval rates and revenue. AppnaBazaar and their affiliates process over $2 billion actually on several different point-of-sale solutions. Now, using FireEye, they not only get access to card payments and all their POS softwares, but also to the new instant payment methods, allowing them to settle on weekends and holidays, dramatically improving their liquidity. And First American is a multi-billion-dollar market leader in the US title space. They're using FireEye to transform traditional checks into instant payments, basically incentivizing the downstream vendors, increasing order closure rates, and reducing expenses in key operations. We closed our fiscal year this March with hitting our revenue target of $5.5 million, and we're well on track to achieve our next target of $12 million. Thank you.
Very well done, good presentation. So, are you targeting any particular market, like US market or European, or where are you going with this first?
Yeah, we're primarily focusing the U.S. market. We started actually, even the company's U.S., we started in India, where actually, initially government agencies became our main customers, utility boards, water boards, then the leading private bank in India, ICICI Bank, became our investor, and then the Reserve Bank's arm, NPCI, basically empaneled us as the recon settlement solution for instant payments of UPI. So that gave banks like Bank of New York Mellon the comfortability to give instant payments to their customer like First American through an AI fintech solution.
Excellent. Fantastic. Clearly, up and to the right. Love to see that. Why do you need to raise money if you have a gross profit? What's the use of funds?
So we have raised actually, we closed our last round of 3.4 million, seed 2, which was a top up from a 1.6 million, which was led by ICICI Bank. So we have raised a couple more, we have raised funds, yeah.
Yes, but you're currently raising, even though you've got you're profitable.
Yeah.
So I guess what's the next step? What do you want to throw fuel in the fire to do?
So what we're doing is continuing a track record, right? Building partnership, especially with banks. And also, if you really look at it, Stripe, PayPal, they try to compete with the banks with their own banking license or become a bank. But they are also coming as partners now to, for example, include Venmo as a part of our instant payment stacks for the POS vendors, for example, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just building more relationship, improving the track record, and we do need to expand our partnership to the top 4 banks of the U.S. when we have the top 5, the next 4.
Excellent. And then, what's your background? What specifically drove you to build this business, and why do you want to do it for the next 10 years?
Actually, this is very interesting because last week I was with the U.S. we're member of the U.S. Faster Payment Council, where BNY Mellon introduced us, where Walmart, Netflix are there, and I felt like an outsider because I have a machine learning, statistical modeling background. I started a company that did big data projects at Google, these guys as vendors, right? And I was dealing with manual payments, basically. I was getting checks. So then we threw a paper to Y Combinator and said, hey, can we do something? And that got picked up for an interview. And one thing led to another, and here we are.
Excellent.
Yeah, so what is your moat, and who are your competitors, and what prevents your competitors from getting into this space?
So our moat will be 3 components of our solution, which is first is we consolidate, currently it's a fractured ecosystem, we consolidate our payments and transfers in a single platform. But because of that, we're actually able to leverage artificial intelligence to do 3-way reconciliation between bank statements, ERP, and the actual payments and transfers. And third, because we have an AI, we're able to comfortably give them access to instant payment methods without increasing fraud in the US, right? And yeah.
Okay. By the way, Anand is an advisor to this company, so it's just for disclosure purposes. Anyway, let me try to ask you a tougher question. There's so many payment tools, so many payment methods, and companies who already have this, why won't they say this is yet another tool I have to go and use or implement? So how's that experience been? And have you converted existing users, aggregated them, or has it been mostly like clean sheet users?
For example, Credit.com's CTO, the entire team came from PlayStation. So they built an orchestrator internally and cost them $15 million plus. So when we introduced that, we exactly know what you do, but we're just surprised there's no solution like this in the market. So we have to pre-sell the tools, but you're like an AWS of financial services in a way. We come to you, we can connect our existing tools. You also further optimize with what you're doing, right? And it's a single system for us to manage and integrate everything else. And again, people the other tools themselves, like PayPal, they want to fold in because it allows them easier access to customer base without having them to, headache to manage multiple systems.
Thank you. With that, we're done with. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Nataraj Pagadala, founder and CEO of Legrand Bio, top 40 biotech innovator, and I have 32 international publications with 20 plus years of research experience. And I was ranked to top 12% among 2.5 million scientists worldwide by Carnegie Mellon University. Legrand Bio is a mission-based developing a pioneering next-generation molecular glue drugs to fight Alzheimer's and to save younger generations for tomorrow. So Alzheimer's presents a significant challenge with many undruggable proteins affecting the cognitive function, functional, and neuropsychiatric effects. Current treatments offer only a modest relief, with Alzheimer's death rate increased by 140.9%, and the age of youngest diagnostic Alzheimer's patient is 19 years. And the chance of child inheriting the inheriting gene from the parent is 50%. By 2060, it is predicted that there is 140 million deaths of Alzheimer's with a global impact of $9.2 trillion. So the only solution is a molecular glues that can break these undruggable barriers, that removes the protein tangles, improved cognitive function, and breakthrough mechanism unlocks the treatments for all these undruggable targets. Because these targets lack defined binding pockets, and they limit the therapeutic intervention. And so neurodegenerative pipeline from Legrand Bio targets both Alzheimer's and ALS. We have a couple of drug molecules in developmental stage. We are targeting 2028 for IND filing, and projected growth rate is $25 billion by 2030. At the same time, ALS drug market, the projected market growth is $3.6 billion, and with a growth rate of 9.7%. So we are developing a human AI, the next generation molecular glue technology, where we are integrating the data science, diagnostic kit, and also therapeutics as a comprehensive approach for Alzheimer's therapy. And this technology enables rational design and rapid validation of molecular glues than current solutions, even there is no three-dimensional structure of the protein. So our competitive edge, Legrand Bio stands in the first place compared to all the targeted protein degradation companies worldwide in terms of high specificity and selectivity, and also data integration with AI. And also, we are the first one in the entire world working on this particular target in neurological space compared to all the targeted protein degradation, except other than Plexium in San Diego. So we have a great expert team and a world-renowned advisory committee with the doctors, professors, and also all the clinicians to take this innovative approach. And finally, we are an investment opportunity. We are looking for 1 million pre-seed round with a funding structure of SafeNote with a 20% discount or 8% interest. Yeah, Alzheimer's is going to be the biggest challenge in the next few years, hitting more than a COVID-19. And the molecular glues are the new revolution for Alzheimer's therapeutics. So let's together, we need to fight against Alzheimer's and save younger generations for tomorrow. Thank you very much. This is Nataraj Pagadala, founder and CEO of Legrand Bio.
Excellent. Thank you. For those of us who rank lower than 12% top scientists in the world, could you explain molecular glues? Is that because Alzheimer's is neurodegenerative, so in layman's terms, it's splitting apart of something in the body and you're keeping it together? What's this approach and why is it novel?
Yeah, basically, as long as these undruggable targets, there are many undruggable targets, and the traditional therapies cannot work on this particular. So this is the reason why from the last 20 years, there is no treatment for Alzheimer's. There is no FDA-approved drug till today. So this is the why only where molecular glues comes into picture, and they destroy this particular protein, the biological system, and eliminate right from the root, the cause of the Alzheimer's. All the proteins eliminate from the body. That where you can protect right from the cure. In fact, I can say that is a cure of Alzheimer's if you work on that.
I guess I'm curious, why is it called a glue? Does it stick to something and it inhibits it?
Yeah, so the glues are small molecules. Mm-hmm. It sticks to body's own machinery and helps in all these untreatable target to bind it to body's own machinery, and helps in the chopping of the protein and eliminating the protein from the biological system.
Great.
I mean, to further on James' question, so with the glue, you're attaching yourself to this protein, this molecule. Is there a separate treatment that then identifies these molecules and takes them out, or is that part of your drug?
Part of the drug.
And do you have any, if it's just promising, do you have any pharma partners who are working with you at this stage?
Yeah, actually, I was invited by Johnson & Johnson as an early stage innovator in the neurological space, and primarily they are very much interested in molecular glues. And once I do all the experimental studies, then I speak with them for either collaboration for taking the drug molecules to the clinical trials.
What time frame is that?
2028.
So that's when you'll be talking to the pharma company.
Yeah.
What stage is your product, and how much have you tested it? What are the initial results?
We got a blockbuster drugs from two from Alzheimer's and one from ALS, and we are in the developmental stage, and we need to optimize these drug molecules and do some more experimental studies. Then directly we go for mouse studies and also animal studies.
And just tell us the timeline.
Timeline by another 2 years. By less than 30 months, we'll complete everything, and we'll initiate the phase 1 clinical trials within 30 months, yeah.
So won't you need more than $1 million to do all this?
Yeah, because optimization will take time, will take money. That's where we want to spend much of the time, much of the money. Yeah.
Okay.
So follow on to Kumar's question. So how much money you think you will need by 2028?
I'm only asking only 1 million right now, and the rest of the money I'm going to get it from NIH. Yeah. Each application I'm going to get a $20 million for each and every application. So I was promised from NIH that in Alzheimer's, ALS, and other applications I'm going to get each application 20 million.
Okay, good.
I'm only asking the bridging money so that I'll start getting the money from the NIH.
Yeah, I guess what's the first milestone that you'd achieve with the $1 million that would unlock future funding? Kind of what's the proof that the funds went to good use so that you can raise more?
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to raise the next round. I'm going to end this particular round as a bridging amount. And with this particular amount, I'm going to get an optimized lead molecule, and I will have the proof of mechanism of action. So with this 1 million, I'm going to convert it into 1 billion. I'm not going to going for any further rounds.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're replacing steel in transport and logistics sectors. It's a deep science, material science company. The founder, rocket scientist over there, actually built those 2 little rockets. So that's space industry founders bringing tech that was incubated in space down to ground. Very simple. This is the material. It's 70% lighter than steel, 4 times stronger than steel. It's been done in aircrafts with, you've all heard of carbon fiber. We don't hear, it's carbon fiber reinforced plastics. So it's lightweight plastic, strength of carbon. This new material, it's 80% cheaper than carbon fibers. These composite materials are proven in other industries, wind turbines, fast trains, race cars, not available in transport, tried by Federal Express, DHS, UPS. In 2014, announcements were made. Nobody's been able to crack the code on price. Planet Electric has cracked that code. Our first products going to market are these cargo boxes, containers. We also built vehicle chassis all the way to an entire vehicle with less than $1 million raised to date. Customers, these are just some of the 50 logos already. These customers are buying. We have 40 million in pre-orders without a sales team. Why do they buy? Simple. They need the solution. The industry knows it. We provide payback to replace steel in 3 to 6 months. It's a drop-in solution to existing vehicles. You're not waiting for new vehicles. Just replace the back of the van or the truck with a new box across EV, gasoline, and diesel. Durable 25 years versus 5 years. I think I said it all. In the words of the customer, 50% weight reduction equals game-changing, equals 45% more profit. Founders, ex-ISRO, 3 major areas of innovation, which is low-cost manufacturability. Traditionally, carbon fiber takes hours or days to manufacture a part. This is 5-minute manufacturing, which is design, and that's the challenge. No competition at the moment because this kind of design requires R&D. 30,000 hours from the company itself, built on a lot of R&D in space. Such expertise exists in like Airbus, NASA, etc. Just a strength test, show you no dents with this material. Aluminum, steel, lots of dents. I'm going to skip this one. Get to the revenue numbers. We're going to hit 2.3 million in revenues this year. Break even at the end of the year with less than $1 million raised. We're going to raise another about 800 this year to get there. We will raise a Series A next year and break even at the end of 2026 with 18 million in revenue. It's a good story. It's the truth. The reason is because this market existed. It's a global market. It's massive. 2 more slides. CO2 footprint, incredibly important because transportation sector has been unable to decarbonize. It's increasing versus decreasing. You need an alternative to EV. It doesn't exist. Lightweighting the vehicle is like a no-brainer. We provide 30% reduction in CO2 per vehicle. Imagine that over a billion vehicles for the next 30 years. I just explained this already on our funding. Last slide. Just one slide on the comparison to a 1-ton vehicle that the company's already built. The first demonstrated on the road, chassis carrying 4 times the load of the vehicle all the way to all the components. Impressive numbers compared to the Tata Ace. That's my presentation. Q&A.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Gagan to step up here. If you ask me very tough.
This is very disruptive. Why aren't you making splash headlines?
We're going to. This is the first step. We got the TiE50 award. That's the beginning.
All right, that's awesome. Excellent. That was a good answer. So what is your traction today? And what are they, do you have any vehicles or equipment using it from scratch, or is it only retrofits?
We will have at least 5 of those logos I showed, but I can't tell you which ones, will be launching in the next 30 days on the road in India, our first market. It makes sense to launch in India because it's not regulated in that market. So we have a lot of opportunity to get into the market very quickly. Our customers, not us, want the product. They want to replace 50% of their fleet with, take the steel box, remove it, replace with the composite box. It applies both to new EVs coming out where the OEM is buying from us. They're going to just replace the steel box. And you know, OEM equals car manufacturer or vehicle manufacturer. So new and legacy owners. The traction here is in logistics. Payback is because of you reduce the weight, you get fuel efficiency, battery, smaller battery, therefore longer payload, lasting and more payload.
Have you filed for patents yet?
Yeah. We have 3 patents filed, 5 more to go.
What is it, provisional? Is it Indian only or international?
We filed US patents. 3 US patents filed, pending.
Any pending, okay. Thanks.
It's a Delaware corporation.
Great, awesome.
Thank you.
We love Delaware corporations. I was giving you a thumbs up for that. So the unlock was a material category that was being used for planes, this carbon fiber with reinforced plastics, but no one was able to crack the code in getting it to vehicles. Again, for someone who hasn't, is just being introduced to this subject, what was the pain point that you're able to talk about that was overcome?
Well, I should correct you one thing. Carbon fiber is the well-known composite. That makes sense for planes. You need incredible strength. For transportation, you need cost reduction. And you don't need that same ability to withstand 3,000 degrees, for example.
Right.
So we have a different fiber. It's made of silica. E-glass fiber, it's called. It's been tried before, but it was never been made strong enough. So what was the pain point? To find, I'm answering for you, but to find the right the right materials. And composite materials and material science is not easy. From in layman's terms, because I'm easier, he can take 10 minutes.
Yes.
Please.
So basically it's millions of combinations. So the space, he built tiles on the spacecraft. The co-founder built other pieces. There's been enough R&D in that space to know what manufacturing makes sense. This is the innovations, and what's the right manufacturing, what's the right materials that can achieve 5-minute manufacturing, and what are the low cost? And if you want to answer.
Yeah. The other 2 bits are you don't have these aerospace shuttles or airplanes crash into each other. That often happens on the road, so you want repairability. You also want recyclability. Most carbon fiber composites aren't recyclable at the end of the cycle. So a bunch of those hurdles we had to overcome over the last 3 years to be road ready today.
So the innovation is not carbon fiber, but a new kind of material.
That's right.
And has that material been used in any other applications other than the road? And what other applications?
Yes. So you have wind turbine blades. Glass fiber is typically used in that. Very long manufacturing processes, typically takes about 4 hours, as well as a very different set of properties, which is a very high stiffness for wind loads. Here, very different properties on crash-safe durability, etc., that we had to sort of twist the material. So composite material is fiber plus resin plus fillers to get those right kind of properties. So we had to innovate there. Then you have to design it accordingly. You know, you're not taking wind shear loads, you're taking vertical loads. So you have to design for that, manufacture, and then sort of assemble composite to composite joints, composite to metal joints. There's a lot of these sort of hundreds of areas that you have to go through and come out with a structure that actually works.
For example, in the transportation sector for repair, we can do it with adhesives, which was not an issue for wind turbines, as you can see. So, but to your core question, which is a smart question, we haven't invented e-glass fibers. E-glass fiber has been existing. It's been used in other applications. It's, if you want to think of it this way, this was his vision, you tell it, to create a material. He set out purposely to create a material that would work in mass market, high volume, so that we could make money, and I'm happy about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good presentation.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Vinod Balaraman, CEO and co-founder at Collate AI, and indeed a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Drug development is broken. There's literally a 90% failure rate in clinical development, almost $2 billion cost, and 10 to 15 years of elapsed time. The key underlying driver is that there's no visibility to future study clinical events and their patient-specific impacts, which causes the failure of these studies and undermines the drug value. We deliver precision medicine with our patient-level clinical events prediction platform that transforms clinical studies and drug value by targeting the appropriate patients. In turn, we save significant cost, accelerate time to market, as well as improve pricing and profitability. We're an accomplished team of life sciences tech leaders. Again, I'm Vinod Balaraman, the CEO and co-founder. I previously was a senior partner at ZS Associates, a senior vice president at Atos, and a repeat life science AI entrepreneur. My co-founder Chandra is our CTO, also a health tech entrepreneur who co-founded Opsera, was a VP at Uber, and ran a health autism therapeutic startup. We have an advisory board comprised of luminaries from the biopharma space, from the likes of Johnson & Johnson, GSK, Merck, and Resilience, as well as clinician advisors from Penn Medicine and Kelsey-Seybold. We have solid traction. We have multiple pilot customers that include 2 leading biopharmas and 2 major biotechs. We also have a strong pipeline of $500,000 with a major pharma, and active with multiple others. We won the top award, the most innovative solution, at the BioNJ AI conference, accepted into JLabs, which is Johnson & Johnson's life science innovation platform, to potentially partner with them, and have a go-to-market partnership with MTPPI. Behind the scenes, we pre-build our AI foundation models specific to therapeutic area, trained on cross-industry data sets comprised of private and public clinical trials data, as well as health studies and real-world data. We complete the picture by ingesting relevant target client data to generate predictions in the area of focus. We enable 4 main use cases, predicting the best suited patients for the study or at the point of care, providing an in silico predictive apples-to-apples comparison of alternative therapeutic options, providing an early read into the direction of the study, as well as enabling flexible real-time insights. We play in an exploding $50 billion market and deliver a unique value proposition driven by 3 main elements: our patient-level predictions, our built-for-purpose therapeutic area-specific platform, as well as our unique modeling approach and data sources. None of the competitors that we've identified here do exactly what we do. We believe this is the right time for this, with ever-increasing R&D cost, as well as a massively stuck AI-driven preclinical discovery pipeline in a bottleneck to the clinical stage. But there's opportunity with the maturation of the AI technology, as well as data availability and increasing acceptance of adaptive designs. Yeah. Lastly, we're looking for a $2.75 million pre-seed raise. We're on our way with $1.8 million committed, and to deliver the outcomes of the built-out product in our core areas, 5 customers, an ARR of 800K. Thank you. Yeah.
It's well done. Congratulations. Very good company. What do you? My question is, okay, so where exactly are you in your development stage? And you said you also allow ability to do precision patient. For clinical trial, the precision targeting. How do you do that?
Yeah. You're asking about the product, where we are with the product? Or where we are as a company?
And how do you really, you claiming that you find, this is the one thing about the clinical trial, so find the right kind of patient population. So how do you go about that?
Yeah. So we pre-create these foundation models by therapeutic area, looking at the body of evidence that there exists, looking at any evidence where we can find that agent being used in any context elsewhere. We also then complete the picture by ingesting any data we have on that agent itself from the target company. So we combine all of those data sources, right, to get to that point. Sometimes this can be used in a post-marketing context as well. So there's real-world data available on the agent, right? So it depends on the situation, but between NHANES and clinical trials and real-world studies, as well as synthetic data that we generate, we produce the evidence for the purpose, right?
Is there a specific type of trial that you specialize in pharmaceuticals versus medical device, or is it kind of agnostic?
We're focused on pharmaceuticals, so drugs at the moment. Eventually it can go to medical devices too. It's therapeutic area specific, right? So right now we're mainly in oncology, in colorectal, in hematology that is, and lung. Also, metabolic syndrome and obesity is a hot area. We've got some pilots going on in that. And then immunology, gastroenterology specifically there, right? So those are the ones we're focusing on now. Partly market size based, partly opportunistic, because that's where our pilots are. But these are all growth areas, right? And then at the end of the day, we do create models that are specific to therapeutic areas, but it's fully extensible across all, right? So the goal is to cover all of them eventually, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So interesting. You said you have one pharma company as a customer right now?
2 pharmas and 2 biotechs. They're both pilots at the moment.
So
yeah.
All this is based on data and the availability of data. What is the data set these guys find acceptable for you to propose a solution based on? Is there a number? Is it million? Is it?
Not necessarily. It's we worked with in some of these CAR Ts. It's smaller data sets. So we use a lot of synthetic data and bias reduction and so on. We've even worked with like 100 patients in one study, right?
Okay.
But obviously, the nice thing about the platform is, as more data is coming in, it automatically ingests, right? So, you can render all kinds of analyses through the platform, right? So, for instance, good example of a use case is, for a CAR T therapy that was approved, there's pre-existing CAR Ts for that same, large B-cell lymphoma that's already established. So this pharma that's bringing out this therapy, they're very keen to do a head-to-head comparison with the pre-existing ones, right? To show the differentiation. So, and you can't just compare clinical trials because they've been looking at different population sets, so they're not apples to apples. So what we do is we take the patients that have taken the older CAR T, we create the predictive model that identifies patients that have achieved a complete response on the newer one. So, and we overlay the prediction. So we predict for that people that have taken the older one, we predict how they'll do on the newer one, and we do a head-to-head, right? So you get a true apples to apples, and then you can also, with the platform, you can do all kinds of, you can identify various different subgroups of patients where the response might be better to do the comparison in a more appropriate way, right? So that's an example. We also do point-of-care patient screening as well as trial enrollment screening. Those are the other use cases that I talked about, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Good question.
So do you typically help recruit patients for a clinical trial, or that the patients have already been recruited, you say, is this going to work or not work?
The latter, yeah. So we're not a sourcing or recruiting tool because that's done by the sites. But we would embed our predictive model as an inclusion criterion, so you can do enrollment screening with that. So of a large pool of candidates, we will say, okay, who's going to achieve what kind of outcome, and based on that predicted outcome, we say, should you be enrolled to improve your probability of success. And the same thing will apply at the point of care for a clinician as well, right? When the drug is being used, we give them clues as to how each patient will perform on that drug, because that's valuable evidence for a clinician, because otherwise there's so many options and it's not easy. And most of the time these drugs don't work well for anybody, right? And they work specific to each person. So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for staying till the end. So hi everyone, I'm Karina Gasparino, co-founder and CEO of Synaro. We're on a mission to transform stroke risk diagnosis by making 3D ultrasound imaging quick, accessible, and reliable for all. Now for me, this mission is deeply personal. I lost my grandfather to a massive and sudden stroke, one that could have been prevented with an earlier detection. And like my grandfather, 1 in 4 people in this very room will experience a stroke in their lifetime. Strokes claim over 6.5 million lives each year and cost the global economy over 800 billion USD annually. The primary cause, fatty deposits called plaques that often go undetected in the neck arteries until it's too late. Now today we rely on 2D ultrasound to assess stroke risk, but it comes with serious limitations. It's heavily operator dependent, expertise driven, time consuming, and subjective. The result, a staggering 30% misclassification rate, missed opportunity for early risk detection, and significant delays in life-saving patient care. And so that's where Synaro comes along. We've developed Vaso 3D. It's an AI-powered software solution that integrates seamlessly with any existing 2D ultrasound equipment, transforming it into a powerful 3D diagnostic tool. We leverage off-the-shelf sensor technology and proprietary AI to capture 2D ultrasound data of the neck artery, reconstruct it into a precise 3D model of the vessel wall, and then automatically analyze it, providing key metrics of stroke risk back to the clinician in an easy-to-interpret report, all in under 10 minutes with no specialized expertise required. The impact, more accurate diagnoses, a 10 times faster scan to report time, and more accessibility and greater clinical settings. Now, in just 2 years since founding Synaro, we've been able to build and test our MVP. We've secured IP protection, completed a clinical validation study with the Vice Chair of Radiology at Johns Hopkins, and also established a supply agreement with a global sensor manufacturer. We're now raising $800K to fuel our next phase of growth. We're targeting FDA clearance in a US product launch by early 2026, and we already have 5 imaging centers across the United States that are interested in adopting our technology. Now, of course, none of this would be possible without our exceptional team who bring together over 40 years of combined experience in cardiovascular medicine, 3D imaging, and computer vision. Our US go-to-market strategy will initially target imaging centers and hospitals where these ultrasound exams are being performed. This is a $325 million opportunity, and then we'll expand into the untapped $2.5 billion point-of-care segment, extending access to areas that have limited resources and expertise. But this is just the beginning for Synaro. So millions around the world lack access to stroke risk assessment. Vaso 3D not only can fill that gap, but can also scale to a broader $100 billion global market across multiple vascular indications. So at Synaro, our technology has great impact. We make stroke risk detection more accurate, faster, and more accessible so that no one has to lose a loved one to stroke the way that I did. Thank you so much.
So you said that you'll start generating revenues in 2026. Do you need to get any kind of FDA clearance in order to be able to start generating revenues? And if so, where are you in that process?
Yes, so we do have to be regulatory cleared. We've already had a successful pre-submission meeting with the FDA just earlier this year, and they basically approved that we fall under a Class 2 510K pathway. We have the clinical plan that's already approved by them. We're launching clinical studies across 5 different centers in the US. We'll be able to complete those studies in the next couple of months and submit our documentation by the end of this year.
And would you compete with something like MRI imaging, which is really already 3D? And wouldn't that be another alternative for clinicians to use instead of using you?
So MRI is used in very complex cases and mostly to assess more for like surgical indication. We're really trying to make an accessible technology that helps to identify patients before they get that stroke. And ultrasound right now is really used as that gold standard technology.
Okay, great.
I'm always curious about this. How'd you come up with the name?
So Sonaro really just is a spin-off on sonar, which is representative of ultrasound waves.
Makes sense. I like the logo
And
as
I also
well.
did a little Italian flair to it because I'm Italian.
No, I like it.
Thank you so much.
So the carotid artery is kind of one of the initial use cases. What's next on the roadmap? I know you alluded to it a little bit, but...
Yeah, so we really see ourselves as a comprehensive solution that tackles all large artery disease. So plaques can form in many different areas around the body. Some of those areas include lower limb disease, which can lead to amputations. There's also renal artery disease, as well as expanding into aortic aneurysms. But you can also imagine that 2D ultrasound is used for so many other diagnostic purposes, for example, like cancer. So these are also areas that we can tap into in the future.
I know multiple sclerosis involves the myelin sheath, but is that a plaque buildup? Is that on the roadmap at all, just out of curiosity?
No, it isn't. So that's a plaque buildup, but it's a different concept, and that really happens into the brain, but that's not an area that we're targeting.
Well, thank you.
How early can you detect this? And when can you start using it on a patient?
So right now, there are strong guidelines that suggest from the Society of Vascular Surgery and Vascular Ultrasound that 95% of patients are actually eligible that are not actually getting this technology and this imaging. Because anybody with high risk factors like high cholesterol, hypertension, these are all individuals that are at risk of having these types of disease progression and plaque buildup. So really, we can tackle this very early on.
Okay.
And we should be.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
We're going to announce the winners of the Meet the Drapers session who will be selected to audition for the Meet the Drapers show.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. So first off, thank you to everyone for presenting. Those are fantastic companies. I mean that. They were all great traction, great founders, building important things. I was made hungry, then I was made thirsty, then I was made appreciative of all the things that mothers do for us, and then I thought about how my packages get delivered, which is great. Covered the gamut, fantastic companies. I had to narrow it down, but we actually didn't even narrow it down as much as we originally were. We're going to select 5 companies to be on the show, up from kind of the 4 that we'd walked in thinking. So hats off, but really a credit to everybody. So in no particular order, we would like to congratulate Nosh, Galena, X-Atom, SwirePay, and Planet Electric. Thank you to everyone. Those 5, we will be reaching out about arranging getting you on the show. And again, thanks everybody for attending. Thanks everybody for presenting. Really fantastic time. I learned a lot, had a great time.
And thanks to all the presenting companies, amazing technology.
Can the winners please come out here for a picture?